knew who was responsible. In fact, she kept the details as private as possible. She kept it simple. She had been in a bad car accident when she was 11, and it had left permanent scarring. The end. "Are you sure?" Cassie asked, busying herself starting to brew coffee. "Yes," she said. "I'm sure. Also, Cassie, you don't need to make me coffee. That's what you do all day." "I'm well aware of what I do all day, Rebecca, but I don't want to drink the swill that you call coffee. I'm a connoisseur, an artisan." "I'm not going to argue," Allison said, "mostly because I just want you to make the coffee." "Well, you spent all day making pie, so I suppose I'll allow it," Rebecca said. "Nobody allows me to do anything," Cassie said. "I'm independent and free. I do what I want." "Right," Lane said. "I imagine if Jake gave you some orders, you might take them." Cassie wiggled her eyebrows. "Depends on the orders." Rebecca always felt a little bit uneasy when the conversation took this kind of turn. Lane and Allison were currently single, but Allison had been married before, and Rebecca couldn't imagine Lane was as pathetic as she was. Rebecca had no experience with men, and it wasn't something she ever felt like discussing. That meant a lot of smiling and nodding was required of her at moments like these. Right now, she was all out of smile and nod. She just felt depleted. Allison seemed to notice. "Okay, Rebecca, what's really going on? You're being supernaturally quiet." "I'm contemplative," Rebecca said. "No, you really aren't," Lane said. She let out a long, slow breath, using the opportunity to try and think of a very vague way to disclose what had happened today without giving too much away. "I just had kind of an unexpected brush with the past." Lane snorted. "There's small towns for you. Your past is basically your present because nobody ever leaves." "Thank God my past left town to keep Sheriff Garrett from breathing down his neck," Allison said, referencing her hideous ex. Not that kind of past. Though Rebecca thought as soon as she spoke those words that she probably should have let the group think it was an ex. Allison arched a brow. "Intriguing." "No, it isn't. I had an encounter with the man who caused my accident when I was a kid." There. That wasn't so bad. She'd said it. Then she began to reevaluate her not-so-bad assessment. Her three friends were looking at her with very wide eyes. "He came into the store." "You actually know who caused your accident?" Allison asked. "Yes," she responded. All her friends knew was that she had been in a bad accident that had left scars. And of course that was bad enough. But there was more to it. More that she had never really wanted to talk about with anyone else. And now was no exception. "What did you do?" Lane asked. "I kicked his ass out," Rebecca responded. "Did you call Jonathan?" Cassie asked. "No, and I'm not going to tell him, because the last thing I need is for my older brother to end up in jail because he killed someone. And trust me, if Jonathan had any idea that this guy was back in town, he would get himself locked up for homicide." Rebecca was only a little bit sure she was exaggerating. "Do you want me to call Finn? He can come down and hang out by the store, look menacing or whatever," Lane said, referencing her friend Finn Donnelly. Though she wasn't entirely sure the cranky rancher would refer to Lane as a friend. Actually, Rebecca wasn't entirely certain what Lane and Finn's deal was. "Thanks for offering the use of Finn without his permission," Rebecca said, "but I'm fine." "What does he want?" Allison asked. "Did he just want to check in with you? After all these years?" Rebecca lifted a shoulder. "I don't know, and I really don't care. As far as I'm concerned, he can jump off a bridge. I don't really want his apologies, or his pity, or his anything." And she certainly didn't want him to seize control of her building. She didn't want him to give it to her. She didn't want him to have his hands on anything that she touched. "Well, I'm all for holding grudges," Lane said. "I think it's healthy. Good for your pores." "And often keeps you safe. Forgiveness is for chumps," Allison added. "I would be the first to say that some people are